All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm pretty stoked for this show. Those of y'all that have not seen his our guest's recent interview with Mike Ridlin, I recommend please go watch that. It is 3 hours of nonstop action. Crazy stories. He's on the Funker, I believe, podcast. He also helped host, I believe it was called the Pineland. I'm butchering a lot of stuff, but you can literally type in Chuck Ritter and his name will be all over the place with great podcasts. And the name of his new podcast, or the one he's working on now, is behind him. But we're joined by none other than Sergeant Major Chuck Ritter, who served with 3rd Special Forces Group. And he's going to be talking to us a little bit about his career, some of the interesting events he got into while serving our country during the global war on terror, the many locations that he served at in harm's way. And we've been lucky enough that he has allowed us to use some of his photos tonight to bring up and show off some gear. So all of you gear guys that have some questions about weapons, kit setup, and all of that, I've got some great photos that he's allowed me to use tonight, so do not hesitate to ask for setup questions and all of that. So without further ado, Mr. Chuck, I hope you're doing well this evening, and we're going to get the ball started here.
Hell yeah, man. I got a great Hatchet Death Machine beer. I got my mic, it's good.
Excellent. Glad you were comfortable, because I think we're going to have a good time here. I've been looking forward to this since crossing paths with you on Twitter. And by the way, guys, if you do not have X, I should say, if you have X and do not follow Mr. Chuck Ritter, I recommend you do that right now, because he is just a breath of fresh air on a god-awful site such as that. But we're going to get started. We kind of always ask a few of the basic questions, if you will, interview questions to get started. But where were you born and raised?
Well, oddly enough, I was born in the Philippines in Angeles City because my parents were in the Air Force. So I'm not, ethnically Filipino, but my mom was a nurse. My dad was a medevac technician and met during the Vietnam War. And then I was conceived in Japan, I believe, but born in the Philippines. And then I grew up like a military brat, mostly around Texas, a little bit of Oklahoma. Lived in Altus Air Force Base up in Oklahoma for a little bit, then Wichita Falls, Texas, and then Arlington, Texas, and then East Texas after that. And then, that was pretty much my younger life before I joined the military.
Wow. So you were all over the Texas and that little southwestern area. We've got a few Okies that watch, and we've had a few Okie vets from SOG on. So I'm sure our Oklahoma fans will enjoy that. You at least spent a little bit of your growing time in the Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that kind of answers one of our other questions. You having military history in your family.
Yep. Air Force, but still in the military.
Oh, absolutely. I and there are some great jokes out there, but Lord, we can tell you from experience from some of our guests that served in the Air Force. Boy, those are some wild, brave men. Those Air Force men.
But they live well. Like Air Force bases are top notch. I mean, even deployed, the Air Force hasn't figured out.
And that without a doubt. If you can ever, all of y'all, if y'all can ever talk to any Air Force, or for that matter, Army or whoever could ever serve at Udorn Air Force Base or UTEP, I forgot the other one, but the Thai Air Force Base, that was the most primo spot on earth. I mean, you could not beat it with a stick. I've heard a lot of funny and great stories from SOG men that were there visiting, and from Air Force guys that lived there. Great stuff. But you being a military brat, I can assume that's a little bit tough. My dad was a military brat. He grew up was born in Bristol, Tennessee, right there on the border between Tennessee and Virginia, and then Germany, and then back here in Ozark for Fort Rucker. And did you have any trouble with bullies or anything messing with you as a new kid traveling around?
I wouldn't say bullies. I was always like an awkward kid. I wouldn't say I had the easiest time making friends growing up.
Here.
I'm just kind of a weirdo, you know. But
aren't we all?
When I joined the Army, though, my parents actually kind of disowned me for a little bit because, you know, for one, they were like, "Man, if you're gonna do something with your life, you should probably join as an officer." But I was a pretty bad kid. That was gonna happen. And then when I joined the Army, they're like, "The hell, man! Like, why don't you join the Air Force?"
Is that story true that they actually had taken bets that you would not, or your dad made a bet that you would not make it through basic?
Oh yeah, that's a for real story. I mean, because I already getting kicked out of my house once. I live in Alaska with my sister. I did a lot of drugs and a lot of stupid stuff. In fact, I'll tell a story I've never told on a podcast before. When I was younger, before I joined the military, one of the reasons why my dad probably didn't think I'd make it to the military is I had this little blue Geo Metro, and I'd done some LSD one night. This is when I believe I was 16 or 17.
Oh Lord!
I was tripping, and I was coming back from my buddy's house. It's pretty early. It's like 9:30 at night, and I had to work the next day, so I was coming home, and I was out in the country, and I was at this four-way stop, and I look over to my right, and there's this giant bird, and it was an emu, but at the time I didn't know what an emu was. There's an emu farm right there, apparently. I was like, man, this is some good hallucinogens, because I am tripping. There's a giant-ass bird next to my car, so I start driving. I take a right, and this bird's keep up with my car like 15, 20 miles an hour. I'm like, wow, this is some really crazy. So I slow down a little bit, and this thing runs out in front of me, and I end up hitting it. And for some reason, I hit my emergency brake, and I spun out, and I'm on the side of the road. And my headlights are on this bird that's just kind of, and I hit it really hard. It like screwed the front of the car. It's just kind of down. So I got out, and this thing jumped up and started charging at me. So I got back in the car and drove home. So I come in, my eyes are all dilated. Okay. I just hit a big bird, and the car is jacked up. And like, what do you mean you hit a big bird? I'm like, yeah, man, I hit a big bird. They're like, man, are you on drugs? Like, what is wrong with you? So we go out there, and it looks like I'd hit a person because the way the dent was in the hood. They're like, man, you hit somebody? Like, what is wrong with you, man? We got to call the cops. I'm like, no, man, I'm telling you, it's a big bird. Like, I hit a big ass bird. They're like, no, bird doesn't do this. What are you talking about? And luckily, there was a bunch of feathers on some blood on the front of the car, and they're like, okay. Like, where were you at? They're like, okay, yeah, there's an emu farm right there. It's probably what happened. Yeah, but stuff like that, because they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I'm on LSD.
I can only imagine thinking with you with a head full of acid, and then it's like, I hit a bird. It's like, yeah, I'm sure you thought it was a bird.
Yeah, so that's just one example. Like, I can give plenty of examples of stupid stuff like that, of why they didn't think I'd make it. So yeah, at the end of basic training, they were like exchanging money. Like, what's going on there? And like, well, your dad bet that you wouldn't make basic training, and I probably damn near didn't make basic. Like, I failed every PT test up until the very end, and my mom was like, "No, I had faith in you." So, yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's amazing you even with that and your record, shall we say, it's even amazing what you did beforehand. Purposely failing a drug test. I mean, the night before, getting as blitzed as you possibly could. I mean,
that haunted my entire military career on every security clearance reinvestigation. That stupid failed drug test, and the fact that I was probably a little bit too honest on my first evals when I actually got through MEPS, but all the stuff I'd done. And the fact that I had a felony charge on me and stuff like that, that haunted me for 27 and a half years. Every reinvestigation, like, hey, man, we got to dig into this. I got to fill out like a whole sheet on it.
But your story also, I like to say off the get-go, because I don't think anybody's ever said it talking to you. It's also a testament to when someone, no matter, I mean, of course, there's certain things you cannot come back from, but even as for lack of a better term, a screw up can get in the military and become a top-notch, well, one of America's best, like the motto says. I mean, it just is a testament what if you turn your life around, get your head on your shoulders, what you can actually do and what you're capable of doing.
Yeah, and you hear people dogging the military like, oh, people want to join because of everything else. Like, okay, why is that a bad thing? Like, why are you so self-righteous and such a dickhead that you look down on that? Like, yeah, it absolutely is, and it can do wonders for you. I'd do it all over again. I mean, I love the military. The military is full of some dumb stuff. I think we have stuff in the military, but again, I do it all over again. But when I hear that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're so self-righteous. You're such a badass that, like, you didn't join the military just because you had it made. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry. I don't know if we can cuss on here or not, but
you can't. That's my biggest letdown and regret in life, that I was too much of a wild man myself and had a car wreck. I already was in trouble record-wise, but the car wreck to where I ruptured my spleen, broke my hip, my femur, my ankle. That pretty much knocked me out of commission. I was all but done after that. So, yeah, when I hear that, I just say you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. Or talking about people that actually want to join the military and better their lives and defend your ass while you're sitting at home bitching about people wanting to join the military.
Right. And some people, like one of my good friends who took over for me as a team sergeant on the Special Forces team, I was a team sergeant of, like, that guy was like a bioengineer. Like, he had a very high paying job in the civilian world. Very smart guy. And he was like, you know what? This ain't working out for me. I'm going to go join the military as an enlisted guy. Right. And he's one of the smartest guys I know, very successful, but he gave up, $250,000, $300,000 a year career as a young man, to live a life of service. He's still in it. That's pretty awesome.
Damn, that's commendable right there. Those are the stories that really highlight people's patriotism and hell, I don't even know the word besides that. That's just amazing. Yeah, you've got some quite crazy stories. I mean, as I said earlier, we've got enough that we'll get into, guys. In Mike Ritland's podcast or his interview, he covers house parties. He got into talking to his recruiter, and God, what a great guy that recruiter was, helping you out like that at the very beginning. But you mentioned you finally joined the military, and what was on your mind? You joined the Army. Did you have a plan? Did you wanted to go infantry? Did you know anything about special forces yet? Or
I didn't really have a plan. I knew the first time I tried to join, they tried to make me go artillery. I knew I didn't want that. I'd done some research. I was like, you know what? Kind of what I want to do is I want to go be in the infantry and then go to range regiment. That's not really what I knew. And so that's what I signed up for. And luckily, even though I had the background I had, and I did have to get letters from congressmen for the drug test and other stuff, I got my choice of MO, which was infantry. I got my choice of duty station, which was Hawaii. I still got a pretty decent bonus. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, it's where I started my journey. Went to basic. Way out of shape, damn near killed me there with a really low PT test. I made it to my unit with passing, but also low PT test. And then, yeah, it's really great leader. So got in the infantry and loved it. And I'm glad that I had leaders that really cared to the point where they made me work my ass off, do a lot of PT, but also do a lot of studying. And that really set me up for success the whole rest of my career with the way I kind of viewed the way the military should be, which is, hey, it's a life of hard work. You got to apply yourself every day. Nobody gives a shit what you did yesterday. What are you bringing to the table today? And understanding that doctrine and all the basics of just tactics and what you need to do are important. It can just be you thinking you're this awesome person that's going to save the day with your innate genius and ability to reinvent the wheel. No, it's all back to the basics of combat and what it takes to be survivable in the battlefield.
Excellent. What unit were you with after basic training when you got to your first unit?
So I went to the 25th Infantry Division, which are in Hawaii, and they're on the West Coast up in Seattle. I think they got a unit up in Alaska too, if I remember correctly. But for me, I was in 127 Infantry in Hawaii, and that's where I stayed for the 3 years that I was there until I went to Special Forces selection, and then eventually went to the Special Forces qualification course and ended up in 3rd Special Forces Group.
Excellent, excellent. Is dumb question? Always curious because I know they made the movie The Tropic Thunder, but was the 25th the Tropic Lightning or
Tropic Lightning? Yep.
Yes.
Tropic
Okay.
Lightning. Yeah. And like, Hawaii's cool, man. Like,
Oh, you ain't got to tell me.
I'm convinced, man. That's a great first duty station. That'll make a damn man out of you because that terrain is not messing around.
Oh God, what little bit Dad would share. He went to Kaneohe Bay after when he got home from Vietnam, and geez, Lord, you not to get off topic, but you shared a personal story about LSD. I've got a good one. I think y'all enjoy. Dad is on, just bumming around duty. He's broken his wrist. I forgot what he was doing. They were doing something running or whatnot. He's broken his wrist in a cast. He gets off. You can look it up. I forgot what festival it is. It's at the Shell, the Hawaii Shell. Jimi Hendrix, I think maybe Blue Cheer, and Janis Joplin. And Dad's taking a ton of Orange Sunshine and has walked almost 10 miles, not realizing how far he's walked, and gets to the concert and is so excited, hitting his arm on the stage. And by the time he leaves, he feels something running down his arm, and it's blood, and he has broken his cast and re-broken his arm from sitting there banging on the stage while Hendrix was rocking out and rolling.
Nice. What year was that?
19, he got back 69, so I would say probably 70, very early 70.
Damn. Nice.
Yeah. He didn't share very many combat, a few, but some of his non-combat and post-military at Hawaii, he had some doozy of some stories. Jason, glad to see you in the chat. That's Jason from Twitter. All of y'all should know him from MACV-SOG on X. He's a wonderful friend and helps me out a lot. Chuck, I'm sure you recognize that call sign.
So I can see all the chats, but it won't let me join the chat because unfortunately I signed in with my work browser and not my personal browser, so it won't let me log into my own YouTube from here. So my apologies.
Well, if you see any that pertains that I don't hit until question time, let me know and I'll highlight it, and we'll get to it if you see anybody that you know or something pops up. I'll keep an eye as well. So you mentioned you did well. You went through the Q course and you ended up with 3rd group, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And
not my group of choice.
Not your group.
No. Like you get a sheet when you go to the Q course in the beginning. They give you a sheet like, hey, what language do you want? What group you want? That unless you know somebody, it don't matter. Like they're gonna send you where they need you.
All for nil then.
Yeah. I think. Although I love 3rd group, I'm glad I went there. I think that was my last choice on my list of 5, if I remember correctly.
Where is 3rd stationed, and where at this point in time was 3rd group's AO, shall we say?
So 3rd group is and was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The AO then and now it was Africa. That's why we speak French and Arabic and whatnot. We moved away from Africa, we're primarily at CENTCOM. So even as a French speaker, and I was, 27 years in the military, so maybe 23, 24 years in special forces, never went to Africa. I did work with French special operations once in 2010 for about 8 months, but other than that, I never really spoke my language because we're so focused on, other areas. But those guys are heavily involved in Africa right now. And before pre-war, they were heavily focused on Africa. So they're back there, but that's their region. Every special forces group has its region where they primarily focus on. But during the height of the global war on terror, like most of the groups were primarily focused on rotating in and out of CENTCOM just because we had so much going on. But at the same time, like not divesting of our other areas of responsibility. What people don't know, even now, like right now, we are more deployed and busier now then when we were at the height of the global war on terror, we got forces all over the world with special operations, special forces specifically as Green Berets, like all over Asia, South America, Africa, Europe,
Wow.
the Middle East. And you just don't hear about these things. And it's not all combat operations, but it's things that are important that do national security that the layman just doesn't know about. But we're very busy. We're still extremely busy right now. So it's interesting to keep, because I still keep tabs on it, obviously. So
wow, very interesting. That's wild to know that the guys are more busy now than not necessarily, like you said, combat wise, but more busy than y'all were during the GWAT. I mean, wow. Geez. What was you had mentioned you get a wish list. What was your group of choice? Had it worked out? Did you want?
I don't remember. It was either 1st or 10th group was my group of choice. I don't remember what my language choice was, to be honest with you, but it was definitely 1st or 10th group. And then I believe 3rd and 7th were at the bottom, and 5th wasn't on there, or maybe it was. I don't know, but I just know it wasn't 3rd group.
Excellent.
I don't even know what my thought process was, to be honest. I have no idea. I think I had like aspirations of being stationed over in Germany and, doing mountain stuff and being on snowmobiles and stuff like that. So
it doesn't seem like it's changed all that much from talking to the Vietnam era guys, getting to ask where they want to go. And it's like, oh, it's funny you should say you want to go there. You're going here.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you found your way to Miss Billy Alexander wanting to get into SOG, and by God, she found a way to get you into SOG.
Right. Yeah.
Was there? Well, I guess it's way different now with considering paperwork and all that. But y'all didn't have anybody like that. That there's no one around that has that kind of power that you could just go to the Pentagon and hand and say, hey, I don't like this. I want to go to this group and get into the battle or whatnot. That's not capable.
I mean, if you know people, it can happen. Like if you're coming in, somebody and, you're performing well. But the reality is, like, until you're proving yourself, I mean, there's been very high-ranking special forces people whose kids have gone through selection, not passed, and they call them mad. It's like, well, I mean, they didn't pass the standards. What do you want me to do? Or they'll get in the Q course and something happens, they don't make it to the end of the qualification course, and they call trying to change that. It's like, nah, man, the standard's the standard. The person didn't make it. But if you get to the end and you're about to graduate and somebody, you can make some phone calls. There's been plenty of times where I've gotten phone calls from people like, hey, can you help get this person here? And I'll make some phone calls and then get that person orders over to 3rd group and get them over to a certain battalion or a company they want to go to. That happens as long as a person performed, they met the standards, and it's 100% they're going to a special forces group.
Wow, very interesting.
No, but not the Pentagon. You're not going to go to the Pentagon and be like, hey, and it just happened. Like, no, it's not going to. That's not a thing of the now.
Times they have changed. What was your special forces MOS when you got through and assigned to group?
So I did get my MOS of choice. I wanted to be an 18 Bravo, which is a special forces weapons sergeant, which I did get, and that was amazing because when you get to the 18 Bravo portion of the Q course, you're literally just every day going to work and studying weapons and learning every weapon in the world on paper, the stats, taking written tests, and then disassembling and putting it back together, taking them to the range, everything from pistols to rifles to crew served weapons to recoilless rifles to, like, you're sitting there with trainers for for man pads, and you'll be down at the end of the runway, like with the trainers with your coolant battery packs with SA7s and Stingers, going through all that, to mortars. So that was pretty. That's awesome. Pretty awesome. That was a really good time. Man, we always make fun of the medics because we're like, man, at the same time I was getting tested on mortars as a medic, you were getting tested sticking your finger in this dude's butt doing a prostate exam. So yeah, I just think my path was better.
That's every little kid's dream, and then every grown man's dream, getting unlimited ammunition and getting to fiddle and play with every weapon known to man. And yeah, those medic guys, good Lord, I'm too squeamish. And some of those, back when they had dog lab, I know I couldn't have done dog lab. I've heard they've changed it to goat or something, but whew, God bless those medics. Okay, the dog story just popped into my mind. That was funny. And is SEER school, is that a part of the Special Forces pipeline, or is that one of the schools that is immediately after Special Forces, or one of the schools that just is around that a Green Beret can go to?
No, it's actually part of the pipeline. So when you go in the pipeline, they change the order sometimes, but really you go through selection. Once you get picked up and you're selected, they say, okay, you're a suitable candidate. You go to the small unit tactics portion, which is between 35 and 45 days, which you're just out there getting that hammered into you, how to patrol, how to do small unit tactics with a team. Oh. And then you go to your MOS phase of whether you're going to be a Special Forces weapons sergeant, commo, medic, or engineer. And then in the 18 Alphas too, the Special Forces officers. And you come out of that and you'll go to the Robin Sage portion, which you're kind of putting this unconventional warfare setting as a team. Now you're working as a mock ODA, and you got to go do unconventional warfare. And then after that, at least for me, after that was language school. And then that was what for me, for French, it was like 3 to 4 months. And then right after that, you went to SEER school, survival, escape, resistance, and evasion. And then after that, you graduated. Wow. So for me, it was a 2-year-long pipeline from start to finish. So I went to selection before September 11th, went back to Hawaii for about 7 months, went to Airborne school, en route to the Q course, ended up breaking my ankle in Airborne school, my first jump. So I was in a cast. So I had to wait for a little bit, go back to Airborne school, finish that, then come back to the Q course. 2-year pipeline, and then graduated. Unfortunately, since I was an infantryman and I had an expert infantryman's badge, there was 30 of us that had to go back, and we had to be instructors at the small unit tactics phase for 6 months because they were doing this ramp up. They're like, oh man, we got to significantly increase the size of the force. We don't have enough instructors. You guys are going to go back here and instruct for X amount of time. And then came back, got to sign back into third group. And yeah, that's when the party started. Wow.
So you already had your expert infantry badge before you even got your CIB set up. That wow. And that's quite the written test, and then of course field stuff. But I mean that's a hell of a test, isn't it?
The EIB is hard. I failed the first time around. I mean, it's just an experience because you just get inculcated with basic infantry fundamentals and things that are extremely important. I think it's an excellent thing to go get. So it's about I think you do like 3 to 4 weeks of train up, and then the whole testing phase is a week. Maybe it's 2 weeks if I remember correctly. Damn. And yeah, my first time around, I think grenades definitely got me, and I believe mortars and something else that was stupid. So I had to wait a year. You know, there's only got at the time, I think there was like a 20 to 30% pass rate for the EIB. So there was times usually when I wore my dress uniform, I would wear my EIB versus my CIB because it was something I'm very proud of. It was very hard to get. I think it's a very important thing to get if you're going to be in some kind of combat arms in the military. I've always been very proud of it just because it was very difficult. So.
That's what all of the guys, the Rangers that we've spoken to, and some of the Vietnam era guys that stayed in and ended up testing and doing theirs, that they were quite proud of that. Of course, they wore the CIB over it, but they said they were quite proud of the EIB. And it was difficult.
Well, now you got the one that has like the gold leaf on it. So if you have an EIB and a CIB, you can wear that one. I don't even know what it's called, the Master Infantryman's Badge or something like that.
Oh, damn. There we go. I'm going to have to look that up.
I was thinking about like putting the paper for it. I was like, you know what? Nah, that's where the EIB here. I'll put the EIB in. So proud. Wow.
Oh, man.
I also got my, I've got my Order of the Spur. I'm an honorary cavalry member since we worked with the 3rd ACR too. So that's always been something I've been proud of too, because I thought working with that unit as a Green Beret, working with them was really badass. It was when H.R. McMaster's was in charge of 3rd ACR. Those guys were
studs,
phenomenal, man. Yeah, it was much better appreciation for the Bradley and the Abrams after that deployment.
Ain't that the truth? Braxton McCoy is with us tonight. He said hello and ask him about Russia. LOL.
Russia.
Yeah. Man, that I've heard some crazy stories about the guys at SEER school. Of talking to a few of the SOG guys that stayed in and went to SEER school, and that the guys, of course, not knowing that they went through SOG and trying to get rough with them and them laughing at them and not getting the experience out of them they were hoping.
Man, SEER school is that's also one of the best courses I've ever been through. That's the only time in my life I've been without that much sleep, like not even micro naps, mostly because I was a dumbass, to the point where I had the people come out of roll. They're like, "Hey man, are you okay? Like, why are you acting this way?" I'm like, "Oh, that's how I was supposed to act, because I'm acting kind of like a dumbass." They're like, no, you can't just act like a retard. Like, that's not the game. Like, we're just going to kill you. Like in the real life, if you act like this, they're just going to kill you. I'm like, oh, okay.
Got to keep your wits about you somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I mean, you got to play the game. They teach you how to play the game. I was just a moron. So, but the game is rough. Like it takes you, like at least when I went through, like you were very tired, you were very hungry by the time you got rolled up, and you had no sleep there, and they were just messing with you. Very interesting. You saw some people, like when they are stressed out and sleep deprived, do the craziest things. You're like, man, they're just losing their minds. You're like, what the hell's going on? Am I losing my mind? Like, what's going on?
Man, I can only imagine what that experience must be like. Wow. So and you just mentioned 9/11. Where were you when you found out about 9/11? Did you say you had already become SF qualified by the time 9/11 occurred?
No, I'd already gone through selection. I was a young sergeant, young E5 in Hawaii. And it was pretty early there when that happened. So got woke up, and then I was like, oh shit, and called like everyone needs to come in, and they locked down the base. So it took a long time to get in. And then, yeah, that was at that point I was going to the 82nd Airborne. I'd made the decision for some reason that I didn't want to go be a Green Beret. And after 9/11 happened, I got a call from the schoolhouse. Like I told you, they were doing the whole ramp up of increasing the size of SF. They're like, hey, we changed your orders. You're coming to the Q course. Not because I was some kind of badass or anything. It's just they needed the numbers. They're like, nope. If you went to selection, you passed, you were going to the Q course, and went to airborne school. Obviously broke my ankle. And then, but see, that's where it comes to knowing the rules. They told me like, hey, you broke your ankle in airborne school. You're going to needs of the Army. I'm like, man, I know the rules. I know you can't PCS a broke dick. So I got my car, drove my ass to Fort Bragg, signed into the Special Warfare Center, and they were stuck with me because I was broke dick. I was in a cast. So then I pulled staff duty for 4 months and went back to airborne school and then did the Q course.
Wow. Geez, and breaking it on the first jump. What terrible luck like that.
That was just stupidity too. I pulled my slip like 150 feet. Yeah, don't ever do that. You're laying like a sack of shit.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the guy was on the bullhorn yelling at somebody to pull their slip, and I thought he was talking to me. Absolutely was not talking to me. And he was like, "Oh man, you did get PLF, but that was a really hard landing." I was like, "Oh,
yeah. Yikes!" So when you decide that you were in fact not, or it's kind of decided for you, you've passed selection, you're going to the Q course, get into third group. What's where are you guys going? What are y'all training for? What's on the scope for third group?
No, man, we weren't training for nothing. They were gone.
Oh,
they were deployed. So showed up. The supply sergeant's like, "Hey, man, let's go to the store." So a credit card. Went to the kit store. Spent like $3,000 each on us buying whatever kit we wanted. Went and got our draws from everything else. Had some pretty squared away dudes that were in the rear, like give us a ton of magazines and whatnot. And it was a couple weeks we were on a bird to Afghanistan, and then and then I remember flying out to the fire base It was a camp laying in the middle of a place called Det-A in Afghanistan, in the middle of nowhere. They just built that fire base, and I'm all like kitted out, like looking cool, helmet, kit. I'm like double basic load, ready to rock. Like, man, yeah, we're at CH-47s landing, going to combat. The ramp drops, and this fucking four wheelers there. It's just like these jacked tan dudes with Ranger panties on and no shirt and goggles, and some weapons strapped on their back, like MP5s and whatnot. And then off in the periphery, you can see like gun trucks, like securing the HLZ. But yeah, it was not what I was expecting. And then got on the back of this four wheeler, like my arms around this tan, sweaty, jacked, hot dude, driving off the HLZ to the fire base. Like, all right, new guy, there's your room. There's no bed made. There's some tools right there. Make your bed. We'll see you at chow. All right.
Wow. And that's it. Welcome to Afghanistan.
Yeah, it was an interesting welcome to Afghanistan because it was literally in the middle of nowhere. Like, we wanted to go take baths and showers. It was once a week. We'd go down, pull security down the river. We'd put the gun trucks up. Half of us would get in. We'd bathe. And then we quickly found out like you couldn't just bathe with no sandals on because the Afghans were like shaving their nuts in the water and they just dropped the razors. So you'd cut your feet. And on top of that, in the rivers, and this is the Arghandab River, there's all these freshwater crabs, which is real weird. And they would like bite your toes and whatnot. So you had to wear like some combat sandals in there. So you do your washing. Yeah, it was interesting.
Wow, geez Louise, that sounds like a nightmare. Let alone
it was cool. We ended up building like a shower up top. We put this cistern on top of HESCO, and we ended up renting a water truck. We'd fill it up and then heat up in the sun, and you could take like a decently hot shower up top. But it was like the burn shitters. Like, you got really used to. You go to the burn shit. There's a huge fly problem up there. You just got used to like just a massive ton of flies on your butthole while you're taking a dump. You're like, all right, I'm gonna read this Playboy and take a dump. Flies, yeah.
Cool. What was we always talk to hear from the Vietnam guys, and it's those that trained down south, and either the helicopter pilots here in Alabama or the guys that were at Fort Polk at Tigerland. It kind of got some of the southern humidity, but of course nothing like Vietnam. What was that like? Was the heat, the smell, was it like we hear in all the war movies and everything? Was it just overpowering, hitting you coming off the bird?
No, actually Afghanistan is pretty diverse, right? You're going to be in some places where it is very humid and almost jungle-like, to be honest with you. Very vegetated. Sometimes you'd be in the mountains. Sometimes you'd be in the flat out, like a very desert environment, which is what we were kind of in there. So no, it's a dry heat. It's pretty reasonable. Nothing really obnoxious, to be honest with you. The smell where we were, because we were like, I don't know, I think we were like 130 Afghans. The 130 Afghan Army, which is brand new, at our fire base, and we had like 40 infantry, and then we had 2 special forces teams, and then our periphery was another 400 Afghans that we paid, like little mercenaries. But super nasty fly problem up there, just from the food and people shitting everywhere and burn shitters everywhere. So we used to have this game called Lord of the Flies. I got some pictures of it where we'd sit around. There'd be like 8 of us in a circle, and you have the fly swatter, the metal. Like, I'm talking like metal fly swatters too. These things are. You got to try, and if you hit it and you kill the fly, then you get to keep the fly swatter. But if you missed, then you had to hand the fly swatter over, and we just do that for hours a night for no real reason. Called Lord of the Flies, right? Because that's the fly population was just wild. So you slept in a mosquito net in your bunk, not because of mosquitoes, but because of the damn flies. So I wouldn't say it was the smell, but the smells over there obviously interesting, but yeah. So the heat wasn't bad, but the flies were bad. They're pretty. Wow. So you get used to it. You're like, oh, that's just normal. Like, flies everywhere.
Jeez, I guess that would take a little bit of getting used to, especially going to the bathroom and having them waiting for it to come out like that. That would be crazy. Did we kind of hear from the Vietnam guys about the proverbial FNG title. Is it like that for a new fresh team guy, a fresh Green Beret coming on? Is there FNG status with you?
Yeah, and there should be, right? Because again, nobody gives a shit what you did yesterday, right? That's what you're bringing to the table today. So even when I was a team sergeant, like when you came on, you had a 6-month probationary period, right? And the point was, A, are you here for the right reasons, and do you want to be part of something that is bigger than you, right? Do you want to be part of the team? Are you here for yourself, or are you here for reasons other than you? And the things that like for the first 3 months, you couldn't call anybody by their rank, or I'm sorry, you couldn't call anybody by the first name. You only called them by their rank. You take out the trash, but then you get a stack of books, which was the Ranger Handbook 7-8 at the time, which is infantry squad platoon, and a bunch of other just basic stuff. In 3 months, you were going to get a 50-question test, and you were going to take the team physical fitness test, which took about a week. There's a bunch of different things. And then you were going to take a bunch of different other gated tests, which is basic stuff like your knots, your radios, basic trauma medicine, all this different stuff, which kind of looked like expert infantryman badge stuff, to be honest with you. And then at the 3-month mark, if you passed all that, you could start calling people by their first name, but you still weren't in. At the 6-month mark, you would come before the board of all the senior people on the team, and they would tell you everything that was fucked up about you and everything that was good. And they would take a vote. And if you had proven yourself, then you would get the team belt buckle, and you had full voting rights, and you were a solid member of the team. And the whole purpose of that was just an indoctrination. Just like, hey, we want to build this exceptional brotherhood of people that are here to be a part of a team, not to be just an individual. Because when you give an SF company, everybody's got an SF tab. Nobody gives a shit that you get a Green Beret. Everybody's a Green Beret, right? Are you here? Do you want to be more than just, your basic whatever? Like, no, we want you to be something more. So yeah, the FNG status is real, and it should be. It's not a hazing thing. It's just a rite of passage. But it's also like, do you have the proper amount of humility? Because you need that if you want to be exceptional, right? Because at no point in time are you ever as shitty or as badass as you think you are. But hey, let's get you in that bandwidth of not operating in arrogance, like, because nobody cares how badass you think you are. Let's get you in that bandwidth to where you can actually be excellent, and you can be value added, and on the battlefield you can actually be somebody you can trust, because you're not making decisions based off ego and hubris. You're making decisions based off hard training that you just hammered into your head, and you're going to be a member of the team versus an individual out there.
Man, that is amazing. Was that I know, I'm sure every group team has their own way of that, but was that a third group thing, or was that just your group doing that that way of doing it, I should say?
No, every team is different, right? Every team has the ability to be fairly autonomous in the way they do their really everything. When I showed up on my first team, I was just treated like a dirtbag when I showed up, and rightfully so. I think I showed up a little bit too arrogant, for sure, and that was pretty healthy to burst that bubble. What I've seen in my military career is generally it's the people that are very competent, and they're confident, but then that confidence turns into cockiness and hubris, and that's when they start to fail. Because once you start huffing your own oxygen, it's hard to come away from that, for one. And two, you are going to fail not only yourself but your team, and your arrogance is going to not allow you to take personal accountability and actually check yourself. So yeah, I think that the teams that I've seen that don't do that are the ones that usually don't do so well. It's not a third group thing. Like, there's plenty of, like, it's just people. Like, it doesn't matter what your organization is, whether it's infantry, it's just all different jobs, right? Like, there's the same percentage of dumbasses, the same percentage of people doing stupid shit. Even in your really elite units, like CAG, like, there's a percentage of people that are doing dumbass stuff, because that's human nature, right? It's just what it is. You can try to weed it out, fire people quickly when you have to.
Wow. Yeah. That's I mean, that is just it's really cool breaking them down. It's like you said, it's almost like the Roman legionnaires welcoming in a new legion. It's almost, I hate to even say this, compare y'all to that, but it's like being a probie for a biker gang. You've got to learn the way things operate, the history, and prove you're up to the task. That's amazing. Wow. It's no wonder we've got men like you, and our special forces continue to just up the bar in every fashion.
But even continually throughout your career, like when I was a company sergeant major, like I don't care. Like when people would come back to the company, they might have gone and been real awesome in the past and gone done like an instructor job for a while. And when they come back, it's like, okay, you're still gonna go through this inboarding process. You're still gonna take this 50-question basic test, this entry test. You're still gonna stand in front of the members of this company in your uniform, because I don't care how badass you think you are. Like let's re-blue you. Let's instill some humility and make sure you're coming back. Because you see all the time, there's plenty of people that are all badged out and all of a sudden they suck, right? It's like, okay, well, obviously you were pretty good at one point in time. Why do you suck now? Because once you suck, you suck. Like let's not pretend like just because you made it, you made it. It's not a thing in life. Like you've never just made it. I don't give a shit who you are. Like, what are you doing right now today that's providing something for the people around you, for your team, whatever you're part of, not just you. Like, oh man, I'm this badass, I've earned it. Like, nah, man, you've never earned it. You should never be this entitled fucktard that just thinks that you've made it in life to where you're that great, and now you don't have to prove yourself every day. So we would do that to even experienced people.
No resting on the laurels.
No resting on your laurels, man, because nobody gives a shit. It doesn't matter. Like, cool, you were an awesome yesterday. What are you doing today that's worth a fuck? And if it's nothing, then okay, you're a piece of shit. Cool. Let's just accept that or change it and move on.
Wow. With you guys first getting into country, and your whole career, you're doing a lot of interesting stuff, and of course working with the indigenous groups of wherever y'all are at. I believe y'all at one point, do y'all actually train the UAE band at one point in time?
Yeah, we did on the team I was on. So we went over to United Arab Emirates, spent a decent amount of time in Dubai. That was a pretty awesome time. Worked with their special operations, and then deployed them to Afghanistan. And then we did the whole trip there with them, which was freaking wild. That was a trip. That was 2007, 2008. I got my first Purple Heart that trip. There wasn't a whole lot of IEDs in Afghanistan up until that point. But that trip, you knew every time you left the wire. Well, you knew that you were going to get attacked at the fire base every day. And it got so commonplace. There was one day, like we were living in tents at first. We finally got some CBs came in and built us some huts, and we got a generator. We're hooking up air conditioners to this one hut that we built, and a big firefighter erupted on the perimeter. We're like, okay, that's normal. I was like, hey man, like we probably got like 30, 40 minutes before this gets serious. So let's just go ahead and finish hooking up this air conditioning unit, and then we'll get our kit on and get out to the wall. It started getting more and more intense. Some incoming, some indirect started coming in. All of a sudden, like some very large rounds started coming in, like huge. Like one of them came right over us and like landed behind us. And like, man, what are they shooting school buses at us or something? Like, this is crazy. Like, hey man, let's sit this down and go get our kit on, get down to the wall. And they were hitting us with pretty large recoilless rifles from not too far away. So we ended up going out there and killing that. We shot some MLRS rockets at them from another fire base, and then going out and taking care of that threat. But I'm saying that because it was so commonplace. We're like, oh yeah, we have to put our kit on yet. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But you knew every time you left the wire, you were going to lose somebody. You just, most of the time it wasn't an American. It would be an Afghan, because you'd go out with a special forces team, like 12 guys and 120 Afghans. But every time you left the wire, you're going to lose somebody. And a lot of that was to IEDs and follow-on ambushes. And I mean, even going to the fire base, we had this huge convoy of like 100 supply trucks, and we had all the UAE and one of the UAE like rich, I don't know if they call them sheikhs or whatever the hell they call them, princes or whatever, but they had donated like this badass shower unit, because there's no showers at the fire base you're going to. So we'd stocked this thing full of all MREs, and that thing got blown up on the way up there. I think we lost 4 or 5 vehicles on the way up there. Yeah, that was a wild trip. And then the UAE, like they had their soft was really rich, so they'd fly their own personal birds over and we had to go secure the HLZ, and they'd be dropped like they'd be parachuting in ice cream and like fish and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Golly. Wow. Boy, yeah, I bet their SF is kitted out and lacking for nothing. Wow.
But that's like one of their companies was super good, one of their companies was super lazy, one of their companies was super entitled and shit. It's like it's the same thing. It's like, again, it's humans, right? It's like
that's human nature. Human nature. Who other than them, and I had forgotten the timeline, but your first tour are you working? What Indian group are you working with? Your first tour.
That was in Afghanistan. So we had our what was called the AMF, which is basically your mercenary force, which we paid. It was like 400 people, and then we had the brand new Afghan army that was like on the fire base proper with us. And we were just out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you know Afghanistan, but Kalat is like kind of like in the center between Kandahar and Kabul, and we were probably like 2 hours north of that on the Arghandab River.
Wow.
Not super kinetic. We get rocketed all the time. Got in a couple firefights, but nothing crazy. We'd do a lot of 4-wheeler missions. We'd go up in the mountains, light kit, trying to find where we're getting attacked from or some other issues, and we go up there and call in and direct and other stuff. That was pretty interesting. Find like where they were looking at us with all these foxholes, and ensure that those things were rigged to where if anybody came back there, they'd have a surprise for them. Stuff like that. It was a very cool first trip. A lot of time on the range, a lot of time training, just being out in the middle of nowhere, like learning how to deal with an indigenous force where most of the time, like as a Green Beret, you don't have an interpreter with you. So you're having to, maneuver large formations of people, without really a way to communicate directly with them. So you just learn how to do it and how to make shit happen. Right.
Man, that's like, going back to the guys that didn't speak the Montagnard dialect and just figuring out, what makes them move and what makes them shoot, and there you go.
Right.
Man, did and you had mentioned the Afghan mercenary force, and then later on, did you was your group or your team, were you a part of helping to build or train the initial group of the Afghan Special Forces unit or group?
So that was later. So that was my first trip. That was 2004. Later, third group was responsible for standing up the Afghan commando units, which is, that's kind of modeled after the Ranger Regiment. And then 2010, my team specifically was, we were given the mission of standing up the Afghan National Army Special Forces. We went to Camp Moorhead with Afghanistan, and typical Green Beret style, like, hey, here's what we want you to do. We're not going to give you a ton of guidance. We're definitely not going to give you the resources you need or any money, but you're going to come up with a selection program. You're going to select X amount of individuals, and you're going to deploy the very first Afghan Special Forces guys. So that's what we went and did. And that was actually pretty cool because the Afghan Special Forces were one of the core units that held that country together to the very end. In fact, if you look at the news, like they were the last units on the airfield helping out the Americans when the Americans were leaving. So it's pretty awesome to be able to stand up a program that endured and was worth the shit to the very end. So,
wow, that's that's got to be with all you've done, that's got to be a unique part in your resume, your history book of building up the ANA SF forces like that, because it seemed like from footage and from what we've heard from other guys that have been on other podcasts, some of the units were pretty hellacious and pretty damn good on target with y'all.
There's a lot of good people, a lot of weird people.
Yes,
but it's like in Afghanistan, like a lot of those people are just trying to make a living. So some of them just aren't the bravest. Some of them are really badass, right? but with the special forces guys, those guys, they were going through 2 selection processes, and there were some turds in there and some people that were ended up being the enemy. But for the most part, those guys were very reliable. They operated like us. They thought like us. They were very ingenious with what they're doing. We set up this group called the Population Studies Group 2010, which I'm having to shut down because they thought it was too CIA-ish, I guess. But it was very effective. They could go out and for the Afghans to come in and either target, or they need to do psychological operations on an area without being kinetic. And it was almost too effective. Well, it was too effective. So they made it shut down. Like, I can't shut this down. I can take away the 20 vehicles that we have they're using with all this stuff. But that's about it. But the program actually continued after we shut it down for a little bit. Pretty effective. And I worked with the commandos a lot too. The special force and the commandos are different. The commandos are more your hard hitting element. Obviously, when I got my 2nd and 3rd Purple Heart, that was with the commando elements. Not all those guys were just pipe hitters either. You'd be getting on the CH-47 and quarter and be sitting there high smoking hashish. And like, good on you.
Now, was that the commandos? Was that the incident that was caught on tape from the helmet cam where you were injured?
Yeah, that was 2012. That was with the 6th Commando Kandak, and we were in this place called Det-A Valley, which is freaking gnarly. Nothing went to plan there at all. Everything we got there is like, all right. I've been deploying for a while. I'd already deployed to Iraq at that point. I'd been to Yemen. That was, I don't even know what trip to Afghanistan that was. I was like, I know this country pretty well. I've been to combat. I've seen in Iraq was like the most intense CQB I've ever experienced in my life. To this day, it's the most intense urban combat I've seen. This almost trumped that. Well, it might have trumped that, to be honest with you. It was like crazy. It was like a maze. And thoroughly outgunned, outmaneuvered in this area. Even though we had all the aircraft and sensors in the world overhead, we were well armed, well equipped, and had a pretty sizable force on the ground. We still got our shit pushed in there, and I got shot 3 times, obviously. You can watch the helmet cam footage of that. It's pretty cool.
I don't know. I won't play much of it, but guys, literally, I've tagged Mr. Chuck on several videos, but there's 2. I think this is when Mr. Chuck is coming back from being injured. I won't keep it long because I'll get struck for copyright, I think. But you can hear gun.
Yeah, it's just basically us going around the corner. That's me getting my ass handed to me.
Yeah,
that was a really close firefight. Killed 2 people right away that were just bounding like you'd see American bounding. Multiple machine guns, at least 2, maybe 3, and a shitload of other people in the woods. And they were there to party. They weren't the people that fought us in that valley were pretty impressive.
And it sounded like there was gunships on target. It sounded like a minigun or a A-10 going off earlier.
So no, that's later. So this happened right at an inopportune time to where most of our fixed-wing aircraft and AC-130 were off station. And this was right when the first AC-130s that were pressurized were in country. The AC-130Js, I believe, is what we're calling at the time.
Wow.
Everything was off station. We had 2 Apaches overhead. Both their guns were inoperable. I didn't feel like shooting rockets. Because what had happened is we had gone around that corner. The Afghan next to me had gotten shot. All the other Afghans ran. So then I'm like standing at the corner fighting by myself. I'm like, where the fuck is everybody? And there's so much fire coming in that I couldn't even see. So I'm looking around, I'm like, where'd everybody go? And the medic was like, yeah, they all ran away, except for a couple of them. The platoon leader was there. He's like, yeah, fucking, I don't know. So calling in gun runs, but the Apaches, they couldn't fire their guns, and then wasn't comfortable with firing hellfire from the drones or hellfires from the Apaches or rockets even within a 25-meter radius of us or this guy couldn't see now that was shot. So everything else is off station, refueling. Finally got the Afghans back. I was like, hey, man, we're probably going to get fucked up going around this corner. but if we don't get this wounded Afghan, that is mission failure. So we're going to go and we're going to fight our way out in this close ambush. We're going to grab this dude. Told the medic, I'm like, hey man, be prepared to receive some casualties. And because it was only me and him were the only Green Berets, and then we had a chemical reconnaissance detachment guy with us. Our CRD guys, we used those guys as site exploitation experts, and everybody else was Afghans. So we fought our way out there. You can hear the gunfight. You can hear some grenades. Like, get through at least one grenade. And I'm getting shot, and then coming back, got treated, and then the Afghan got brought around as well. You don't see it in the video, but the A-10s you do hear right after that, they were coming in into the RAWs from refueling, and RAWs is a restricted operating zone. It's like the bubble you set up around yourself when you have an operation that you control for the airspace. So the JTACs had put them in to the wheel, but they're like, nope, hey, we're tracking everything that's going on. We've already been here because they were overhead earlier. They just went back and refueled. And they just immediately came and started engaging with 30 Mike on their own. And they were cleared hot for that. Obviously, they just didn't do it just fucking willy-nilly. But they did it without needing like in-depth instruction or a talk on there. It's like, nope, we're tracking. We know what's going on. We know where this is at. This is where we're gonna do our runs. Like, yep, hey, we're gonna come in here. Here's the IP to where we're coming in. Boom, yep, cleared hot. And they just came in. And that's how you hear the sounds like a fart from God in the video. It's like, that's them coming in, destroying the force that was like right behind us.
Jeez. And was that a PKM that got you 3 times?
Yeah, so it was a PKM. So I saw this guy and he was engaging the platoon leader. I'm like, shit, okay. Well, I didn't see him. I saw where his rounds were coming from. I couldn't see him. I'm like, oh shit, I know where he's at. So I started shooting where I thought he was, and I was off. He transitioned over to me. The first round hit my right leg and knocked me into like a Superman position, like kind of like I was flying for a second. So the next round hit my upper back, and that round went through my brachial nerve complex and artery and lodged in my lower back, and then one went through my butt cheek, and I landed in this little shit ditch. In the video, you see like what's poop on my face. It looks green. And the PKM only has a 100-round belt. So he expended his rounds. I'm like, oh, yeah, and I'm going to kill this motherfucker. So I got up, went to engage him, but I physically could not bring my right arm up to work my weapon to engage him. I'm like, oh, that's bad. And it felt like I got hit with a sledgehammer when he hit me. So I went to go grab this wounded Afghan, and I could not grab him. And I couldn't grab him with my left arm with the way everything was and pull him. So like looked at the dude next to me and like, grab this fucking dude and let's go around this corner. And then went around the corner, and that's where you see the rest of the video.
And this is the event that earned you you earned a silver star, I should say, for this action.
Yeah, that was a silver star event. Whether or not I deserve a silver star is debatable, but that's what they put me in.
No, that's not debatable at all, sir. Not at all. Maybe you might think that, but none of us, and clearly the government did not think that. Yeah, guys, y'all, there's a 6-minute, and I think there's another chopped one, but it covers the entire, not the entire, but it covers a lot of what he just said, except for capturing the wound, or re-getting the wounded Afghan into a friendly area, and some of the other gun runs, but quite moving footage. Just type in Mr. Chuck Ritter and you'll find his profile. And quite frankly, it might be under mine as well. I tagged Mr. Chuck to where I shared some of it yesterday. So you can look at that. And yeah, guys, that's some of the most crazy footage I've ever seen.
I wish there was some video of like what the team did. And there is full helmet cam footage of the entire battle, which is nobody's ever going to release it, but it is fucking wild, especially like when they're moving me and I'm in a Skedco and it's my medic and my commander. And again, the Afghans kind of pushed away. So it's only them at the rear, and the Taliban are coming to the rear. It's like, hey man, we see these dudes with the wounded guy. We're going to snap them up. And they're having to fight their way alleyway to alleyway to this HLZ that they just cleared. Because like as Green Berets are operating in a small unit. So there's one point where my team leader was like, hey, it was our engineer. He's like, hey man, I need you and this other guy to take these Afghans, move out for a K, and clear this HLZ. And when he tells the story, he's like, man, it's like I knew when I told him that it would be the last time I ever saw him. because the firefights are so crazy. And it wasn't like I just helped this dude move the other day, but they're like, Roger that, no things. It took the Afghans, they moved out, heavy fighting. We were able to clear this area with a lot of air support, and then got me in there and was able to medevac me out. And then they damn near almost out of ammo, out of water. They had to fight their way out of there to an HLZ to get out of that night. So that was, yeah.
Holy God! I mean, that helmet cam footage of the whole battle. That would be, and I can understand why the whole thing won't be released, VOD wise and what have you. But, woof, jeez. Frank was curious about a third group guy, a Jeff. Is that a Gerwich? Jeff
sure
Gerwich, Modern Combat Shooting. I'm not familiar, unfortunately.
No, I don't think I know him.
Okay. Excuse me. And you had mentioned earlier, and one of the stories, you covered that one, and I'm glad we did get into it. But the IEDs you mentioned earlier about them starting to come a play, and you have got one hell of an IED story and some photos that you were kind enough to share. And a question deals with that. And I guess that'll be the best way to lead into this. Tired Redneck was curious, what was the most common explosive the enemy used to make their IEDs? Did they ever use TATP?
I don't know. I don't even know what that is. I probably should. It was just, man, a lot of fertilizer, explosives, very creative triggering devices that you couldn't detect with most things. You couldn't defeat. They became very smart. A lot of command wire stuff. But then even if you cut that and you fucked with it and it hit a solar cell, then it could blow up. I mean, there was a time, I remember before I got blown up, we were moving in to support another team that was in a firefight, and our lead vehicle hit an IED and it killed our dog handler. But I got to the back of this vehicle, this guy's like all bleeding out, and he's like, there's so much blood dripping down on the back of the vehicle. It's like almost in front of the hood. So it dripped down through the back to the hood. So pulled this guy off. And I look around, there's all these other IEDs around us. There's this other like dude that had like lost his shit. And he was like sitting there like hitting one with a knife. I'm like, man, what does this dude do? And he's like, I got this. But they were, when we were pulling them out, they were just large, like in those countries, they got these large oil jugs they use for cooking. So this thing was just full of explosives. Pretty rudimentary, just a explosive device with some kind of fertilizer to, amplify the explosion. Even the one that hit the RG-33 where I got blown up, that killed the driver, it killed the guy sitting next to me instantly and fucked the rest of us. That was probably 500 pounds of ammonium nitrate and some other stuff in a culvert. So nothing crazy. Yeah, that one, that was an RG. That was one of the very first RG-33s in country. We just taken the classes on them and signed for them, and we were taking them from Kandahar to the firebase. And there's another picture where you can see like it launched that thing like 50 meters down the road, and then the front's facing the wrong way. So it launched us 50 meters down the road, and it's facing backwards.
I mean that's crazy that y'all had literally just taken the class on it getting in country and can't even get it back to the base. I mean,
yeah, right. And the very lead vehicle, they'd blown the mine roller off that. Yeah, we were the third vehicle in line. It was in a culvert and just launched that thing. Man, killed the driver instantly. Killed the JTAC next to me instantly. The captain that was in the TC seat, it broke his back. He had to get to the military. And then me and the junior engineer, it jacked us up. It took like 4 years to recover from that. A bunch of facial reconstruction, like they'd from the here down. Had to be rebuilt. I didn't have front teeth for 4 years. Crushed my ribs and my back. One of the reasons why I had to have my hips replaced a couple of years ago is because it destroyed my hips. So that was pretty gnarly. But
is that where you went face first into the protective glass of the turret gunner glass?
Yeah, it was the screen for the remote weapon system. So I only had my lap belt on. I didn't have my shoulder harness on because we didn't expect to hit any IEDs until we'd hit the side of the river to go up to the firebase. So, and I actually got my helmet out in the hallway because my son has it now. but there's a huge divot on top of that to where if I hadn't had, I'd have my helmet on. I had my helmet on, but I had the chin strap on. So I hit the ceiling, and one of the bolts above me had gone into the helmet and kind of lodged in the helmet, so you can see it on the helmet. And then I broke the gunner screen, which is a large piece of metal, just a glass in half with my face.
Oh, if you wouldn't have had your helmet on, that would have gone right into your brain.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, the guy next to me, the JTAC that died, like he didn't have any obvious injuries. It was just the overpressure that killed him.
And just you being that far away, the overpressure didn't affect you the same way.
Did. I don't know, I got lucky somehow, right? Yeah, so I don't know.
Jeez. Did you say that the one that did this was 500 pounds of ammonium nitrate?
That's what they estimated, yeah.
God, I don't
know exactly.
Yeah,
it was a lot. Because there's a picture of the crater. There's a Humvee like completely in the crater.
Oh, that's the same. I've got that one. Okay, I didn't know if that was the same.
Yeah, it was the same one. It just kind of shows. Yeah, you can see how far the vehicle got thrown. That was the explosion right there, and because that was the highway, and then that's all gone. So,
holy hell! It's I mean, considering it's a wonder there weren't more casualties from that, and especially with you with the not just the blast, but what occurred with you hitting objects in the vehicle. My God. Whew. And was this area that you were in, was this the same area, Talafar, where you were hooked up with General, or was he General or what, Lieutenant Colonel McMasters?
No. So Talafar was Iraq. That was 2005.
Okay.
So after the 2004 Afghan deployment, we came back. We weren't out for very long. We went to Yemen. That was a shit show. Had to get out of there because that got wild. And then with 4 weeks later, we were in Iraq, and that's where we had a full special forces company in Talafar, working with the 3rd ACR, and that was freaking wild. And they came to a point to where the ACR lost so many people, they were just like, "Hey man, we're done with this shit." They built a berm around the city. We brought down 2 special forces teams from the north who had some Kurds, brought back down a battalion of Kurds with all of our teams and the Iraqis that we were working with, and we just started from the south. We gave everybody like 7 days to get out. Like, hey man, you get 7 days. If you're gonna stay, that means you want to fight. We're gonna kill you. And then we'd come up with the tanks and Bradleys. We'd hit the walls. We'd go in those buildings, and then we'd hit the next street, do the same thing over and over again. It was wild. It was like 24-hour Apaches and AC-130s at the time. We're only flying at night. They'd be shooting the whole time at night. And when you want to get some sleep at night, you'd have to sleep on the roof, and you'd put a Haji blanket over your head so the shell casings from the Apaches wouldn't hit you in the face and give you a bloody nose.
Jeez. Wow. Boy, that's something that you don't hear or whatever think of, that gotta have protection from overhead. That's crazy. That puts in perspective how big those damn 30 millimeter?
Yeah. The one Apaches, yeah, 30-minute changing, yeah. Shell casings from, I mean, they're like 1,200 feet, but still, like, shell casing from 1,200 feet. It's kind of it hurts.
Knock the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Frank said he is a Afghan Era 3rd Group guy, and he now has a YouTube channel. Well, I'll check him out and see maybe if we can get in touch with him.
And I may know him. I'm half stupid these days. My facial recognitions and name recognition is not anything to brag about. So,
I'm the same way. I faces I'm good with from pictures, but names I can forget. Someone told me yesterday. I'll forget. I missed this, and I'm sorry. Did y'all catch the IED planners or the commander, the explosive guys?
Nope.
Damn. I can imagine that's very hard to do because you're digging, run away, hide, and no one's the smarter or the wiser.
You almost never catch those guys. They're pretty ingenious at what they do.
Is this what we hear?
Very good at the ID game.
Is this what we hear about during this IED game? Was this the big influx of material or training coming in from Iran that they were utilizing?
That was part of it. Yeah, you find these things called spider devices and whatnot, and they could be programmed any which way. Or again, where like you'd uncover it, if it hit light, it'd go off, or got tilted, it'd go off, or they could command detonate it, and they'd be putting it in the ground in such a way where there's rubber and everything on it, where you couldn't really detect it with minded detectors and whatnot. It was
hit light
impressive.
and it'd go off.
Yeah, I mean, fucking terrifying for sure. Because I mean, you got there, like, okay, like we know they're out here. Like, how do we find you? There was no like respite from it. Like, there was from the river to the mountain range, you had like 5 or 6 kilometers of desert, right? So we would try not to go near the road that went along the river, but even you go through the desert, you just hit these damn things in every wadi you went through. So yeah, it was wild, man.
What a utter nightmare! My God. And someone had asked earlier to bring up from one of the other interviews you did, but did y'all work with Canadians at all in any of your tours?
Yeah, actually in 2010, worked with Canadians, and those guys were like really good. And oddly enough, the French Special Forces guys were like really good too. They're both very well trained, very well equipped, very impressive. Outperformed us in many aspects.
Wow.
Both the French and the Canadians. In fact, I learned a lot because I was a Special Forces Intelligence Sergeant at the time, because I went from being an 18 Bravo, I went to the Special Forces Intelligence Sergeant course, which is kind of like, you know, it's kind of like usually like one of your senior guys on the team is the intel guy. I got to work with the French intel guys on their special ops team. They caught, you do a lot of camera work in the Special Forces Intel Sergeant's course. You really learn how to do photography and long range photography. I mean, those guys were like levels above us. I learned a lot about proper camera work. Like, I mean, talking like taking photos of things like kilometers away and pitch dark, like when it's dark, and then how to use Photoshop after the fact to even lighten it up even more to where you can tell what's going on. Just really good at what they did in some of their technical things. So that was a really cool experience. They helped us with, that was the trip we were doing, the Afghan National Army or the Afghan Special Forces program stand up. They helped us with that. So I was, at the time, I was running the Special Forces Intelligence Sergeant's course for the Afghans, and using the French to help me there. They were very, very helpful. They were very knowledgeable, very impressive. Wow. They wore some weird ass fucking spandex, and their officers were weird to the gym. It was really interesting. They're really some really weird like techno videos when you gotta hang out with them at night. But other than that, they're pretty cool. And I got to practice my French for the first time ever. So
that's cool. We see all the people fighting online about whose special forces are better, and no one working together and all that. It's always nice to hear of the guys working like that and getting along and helping each other.
I know I always do, man. We never had like a problem like working with, like when I got shot in 2014. We were working with the German special operations guys. Those guys are fucking nuts, let me tell you. Impressive, like always very impressive.
Yeah.
I haven't actually worked with too many special operations from other countries where I was like, the hell? They're all like, damn, we should be embarrassed. Like, these guys are pretty damn good at what they do.
Wow. And SAS work running the cousins much?
A little. I've worked a little bit with the SAS, mainly in Syria. Pretty impressive, but never like actually tactically on the ground. Generally, the SAS guys, at least, like, not so much. I've worked with the Australians a bit. The British guys are, they're more along the lines, at least the ones I've worked with, along the lines of like our tier 1 units. So a little bit different mission set. Yeah. So the different mission, but step above, as Green Berets were kind of like the budget soft. We're like the pirates of the soft community. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. We don't have a huge budget, and we're expected to go do impossible things without that many resources. Whereas like your tier 1 units, like they're very good at what they do, but they also are very well funded and they're allowed to be very specialized and good at what they're doing. And they're fucking incredible, right? We're more of like the Walmart of special operations. They're more like the Ace Hardware. You know, you go there if you want the nice shit. That's
I like that. That's a great description analogy there. With the, and I'm forgetting what it my names with God, I thought learning Vietnamese names I was bad. Not Talafar, the Tagab Valley. Yes,
that's where I got shot in the back. That's what the helmet cam footage you showed. That was Tagab.
Okay, and that was the numbers or the estimates on that. That was 300 enemy at that point in time on the ambush, wasn't it?
No, not in the ambush. So they came down. We were planning out the mission. They sent like specialized intel people down. They're like, "Hey, we want to make sure we brief you guys on this." It was like, we're going into 2 valleys in Tagab, one in the north, one in the south, and we had 2 special forces teams at the firebase we're at. So on day 1, the other team was going into the north, and they got their shit pushed. That was a pretty nasty firefight. They came out, and then we went in the southern valley, and they were like, "Hey, man, we're telling you, both these valleys have around 300 people, like just waiting to fight you, but they have the ability to reinforce with way more than that, up to 600 maybe." And we're like laughing, right? I've been in Afghanistan for a while. Like those numbers are always like never seen that before in my life. Never seen it. Like how would they even be able to mass without us starting from the air? When we got there, we found out because you can't see in there because it's the jungle. Like this is the fucking jungle. It's like a maze. You couldn't see in there with anything. We couldn't even see in there when we got on the ground. You can see in the video. They definitely had the amount of people that they had briefed. You know, so a little bit of arrogance on our part too. Like, oh man, it's just, walk in the park. We're gonna get a battle. We're gonna strip these people out. Our missions, like we did those types of missions. We were gonna go and we're gonna clear a certain area. And there was going to be some compounds of interest, and we're going to set up multiple battle positions, and then we're going to set up kill zones to where we bait them into our kill zones and kill as many of them as possible as we're going back, clearing what we want to do, and then we leave. That did not work, and we overestimated our ability to be able to see in there. We didn't see shit. I mean, that was like 5 to 10 meter firefights, like pushing these guys out past from our position. It was yeah.
Damn.
They told us that many people were there, and they were probably for the first time in my career at that point. That intelligence picture was correct.
5 to 10 meters. That's damn close. Wow.
Yeah.
And then interesting. The company size ops. There was a story, I think it was with Mike, that I think an officer, and I'm not sure if he was in your CO, but one of the officers had an issue with the uniforms, your BDUs, I think.
That was a general. That was before we went on that mission where I got shot. This general had been causing some issues where he was mad that there was 2 teams at our location. Like, hey, sir, I don't work. One, like, yeah, you're GO, but I don't work for you. You need to talk to my chain of command if you got a problem with that. Like, I'm just executing my mission, right? Like, this is what I've been told to do. This is what we're gonna do. And we had it set up to where we got issued BDUs, the greens, authorized uniform. And what we do is the team that was going out with the Afghans would wear the BDUs with the Afghans because what they were. And this team that was in the support would wear our grays at the time. And then we'd flip-flop, right? So that way there was no confusion. So the team that was going out, which is the other team, the first group team, was going to the north. The birds were delayed a little bit. So they went to the chow hall and grabbed some lickies and chewies. So they went in there with their lanyards and that kind of gear. And this general got pissed because he saw him wearing BDUs. And I'd known him for a while, but I'd worked with this general before. So he called us all. He was pissed. Called us all into his office, and we're all standing there. And he's yelling at everybody. And the other team started to speak. He was like, "You shut up! I want to know from Chuck." He's like, "Chuck, why the fuck don't you guys have a discipline to wear the proper uniform?" I was like, "Sir, I know where this is going." Once I reached in my pocket, I was already prepared. I was like, "Here's the CJSOF uniform policy. His uniforms are all authorized. They were issued. He's looking at it. He's like, man, I just don't feel right about this. I just know that one of you people is going to get fucking shot because you don't have the discipline to wear the proper uniform. Like, all right. So then he went out and sent an email like to everybody in the theater saying that we were there with beards and all this stuff. Like nobody had beards. Like my battalion commander calls like, man, I was there yesterday. I remember seeing somebody with beards. I was like, man, I don't know what this dude's talking about. Yeah, but maybe he was right because obviously I got shot the next day. So maybe it was because I didn't know how to wear my uniform properly. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah. That sounds like the sergeant major from Generation Kill. Your mustache is out of line. That is crazy. Can you at least tell us if that was in fact a Marine? It sounds like a Marine.
No, I wasn't a Marine.
Braxton, good try. I was right there with you. Braxton said blink 3 times if it was. He said Mathis. I thought he meant Mattis.
No, it was not a Marine. Unfortunately, it was an Army guy. Yeah, it was an interesting relationship. He afterwards he wanted to come pin the Purple Heart on me, and they were like, "Nah, you ain't."
No.
Wow. I was always a general officer. When I got shot in the hand the next year, we had these F-16s overhead, and these motherfuckers are just being a pain in the ass. And I was told JT, I was like, man, if this dude causes one more problem, kick him off the RAS and get the AC-130 to do what this guy's not. They wouldn't drop these fucking bombs on some fortified machine gun positions. And it took like 45 minutes to drop these damn bombs. This pilot found me on the medevac bird the next day, and it was a general officer. It was a 1-star in the seat of this F-16. He's like, hey, man, I just want to apologize. Like, we didn't do a proper cast train up. He's like, I know I was being an arrogant fuck on the radio. He's like, man, that's because just we weren't confident in what was going on. That was our fault. So I'm sorry we just kind of left you hanging. All shut up on the battlefield. Give me a coin. It's like, all right, man.
Wow, a 1-star flying and then a 1-star finding you and apologizing. Holy crap.
I never heard of a 1-star and maybe I was so drugged up on the plane. Maybe he's like a colonel or something, and he wasn't a 1-star. But in my head, he's a fucking 1-star. Other people told me he was a general, which is odd. I don't know why a general would be flying a plane. So maybe that's not even a thing. Maybe this motherfucker was a colonel.
Either way, I mean, for him to do that, even as a colonel as well. I mean, hell, you don't get many people who apologize like that and come find you out like that. I mean, hell.
Yeah, wow. So it was odd, but yeah, it was like, sorry, we fucked it up. That was pretty cool that he found me. So absolutely,
that is, and hell, you got a challenge coin to go home with. As we've got some photos, and I'm sure that's gonna some trigger some questions. We are now at an hour and a half, and I said I was gonna not hold you all night. But could you tell us a little bit about? It's been popping up on Twitter a lot with some of the Marine grunts that some of us follow have been posting poppy field photos. Could you tell us? Did you have any run-ins or guard or work around any of the infamous Afghan poppy fields?
Yeah, there's tons of poppy fields, man. Like I think I said in another video where like I'm pretty sure like they're made to be counter-American defenses if you're just like 6 foot tall, because you walk those things just popping the balls over and over again. It's really unfortunate, but yeah, there's poppy fields all over the damn place. I mean, there'd be sometimes like some trips where like, hey guys, we're not gonna mess with your poppy fields, and unless there's problems here, we'll just come back and burn this shit to the ground if we have to. But yeah, we were working with a DA for a while. One of our trainers, we were working with the DA fast teams, and that deployment we were working with them, which was interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of like counter drug, counter narcotic stuff. And then before the 2013 trip, I was working in Tajikistan on the other side of the border with their counter drug teams, or like KGB equivalent. Which is interesting because then when I got shot in the hand, I was working in Kunduz, which is just on the opposite side of Tajikistan, and I had just been working on the opposite side of the road, cross border. So that's cool. That was interesting, dichotomy there, seeing the one side which is very permissive and the other side which is not permissive at all, especially in Kunduz.
That's a bit of a not heroin, opium highway there, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the opium highway. That is the
Oh,
major drug route that goes
okay.
through. Up.
Wow. And man, the fortunes not only in those fields, but I'm sure y'all saw around there. It's just that's still one of the things that are just blow my mind, seeing our troops out there around that and garden and all of that. But hell, the literally I think it even went up while we were there to like 90%, supplying 90% of the world at that point. Just crazy. And I had one more note on the back. Oh no, before I got to that, did you take a gig or a training situation with USASOC when you were on a mountain team or a mountaineering team?
Yeah, that was my first team that I was on. I was on a mountain. We became a mountaineering team, which is interesting because I fucking hate heights. So to this day, but I was on a mountaineering team for like 4 years, I think. And then when I was a team sergeant, I was on a MAROPS team. So we were a boat team, that was actually pretty cool. But yeah, the mountaineering team, like I could climb a mountain. I'll get over my fears, but I did a lot of lying to God on the side of a mountain. You know, you're just on this, you're on this route that you probably shouldn't be on, and way above your skill level, and you're like, man, God, if you help me through this, man, I will stop masturbating, doing whatever. Of course, you get to the end of the route, and you're still masturbating, but yeah, that was some terrifying stuff.
Jeez.
Wouldn't say I enjoyed it. Like we went through the long mountaineering course too, where they first stood up. We went to Alaska, doing ice climbing, crevasse stuff. Remember, we got to the very far side of this crevasse field, like all day, like going over these crevasses, and then one of my crampons breaks. And when you're going these crevasse fields, basically you're jumping and you're landing on one side with your ice tool and getting both crampons in the wall so you don't fall down this damn thing. I mean, you're roped in. You're not going to fall down. But then on the way back with one crampon, like then you're just like sticking it with your ice tool in one crampon. So then that foot's all swollen. Yeah, that wasn't the most. And then my dumb ass, we're sleeping on these glaciers. And man, I was so smoked. I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to like melt this ice and make water. I'm just going to take my 2 Nalgene bottles. I'm going to fill them full of snow and put them in my sleeping bag. And they'll just melt and have water in the morning. Like, no, I just froze my dick off all night long. And then I still had ice in the damn Nalgene's in the morning. So, yeah. So I say all that to say I didn't have a good time and I'm a dumbass. So, yeah.
Man, I mean, as if mountain climbing isn't bad enough, Utah, Montana, wherever everything's going on. But there y'all going to ice climb. Y'all are brave men in combat and out of combat with training. I mean, I now see why it's like you said, it's a never ending thing. I mean, you can die in training, and now I see speaking to you guys why people die in training, because this is real shit going on. Man. Yes, and that funny story of I probably messed it up, but you actually, when you were medevaced, I think maybe the last time you end up running into the same nurse that saw you the past 2 times while you were in Germany, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was on launch tool, yeah, they were like, man, what the. You guys like in the freaking flyer program? Like, get coming back here. Like, the hell, right? Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
I can imagine what she was thinking. Like, again, seriously?
Yeah, she was like, the hell? I was like, yeah, my bad.
Jeez Louise. And I know we are going to get into. And you did mention Syria as a task force sergeant major. I imagine that was hairy, wild with what all was going on in Syria at that point in time. It was literally hell on earth. It looked like from the TV. So I can imagine what it was like there at that point in time in history.
That was more like, you ever seen Mad Max Fury Road?
Yes.
So I was in southern Syria. That's what it was like. So you come up. We had multiple bases in Jordan that we were over. You come up, you come all the way near the Iraqi border. You pop up. Once you get off the highway, there's no roads. So you're no roads for a couple hours until you get to what was called Tower 22. And then once you cross the border into Syria, there was no roads. It was like it was there was like 5 or 6 armed groups that outgunned us in some ways that we didn't have control over in this 55-kilometer deconfliction area, and got up to our fire base, which was surrounded in this bubble by an armored brigade of Syrians and Russians. And then you have all these other factions in there that you don't control. And then the CIA controlled one, and they didn't like us. So they kept rolling up our partner force. And these guys were like, I came out of one meeting, and these dudes got super pissed. I came outside, and all I have is my pistol. And these dudes are in like up armored tundras, and they're wearing like fedoras and gold chains, like some shit out of a movie, like gangsters. And they got like super nice heavy weapons. I'm like, man, yeah, we're about to all die. There's nothing we can really do about it because they outgun us.
Damn.
Yeah, it was just that was a wild trip.
I mean, anytime someone mentions Syria, I mean, you just know it's just craziness. But Mad Max, that's the perfect description right there. I was hoping you had a good optic or a sense that we could use to picture it, because that's the perfect one. Jesus. Nope, that's the wrong one. And I believe we are now going to get into some of the questions, the few questions, and then look at some of the photos. And guys, if y'all have got some questions, go ahead and start getting them in. We're going to check out some photos, and I had a few questions about weapons, and we'll go from there. And we'll let you go here directly. I know... No, Braxton didn't have one. Someone had a good question. I apologize. There's
Braxton's always sending me like DMs on Twitter, like he's like, "Hey man, do you ever put googly eyes on your wiener?" I'm like, "No." Fucking weird. And you're like, "Oh, just asking." Stuff like that. But anyway,
that sounds that sounds like a friend of mine on Snapchat. They likes to have fun with the drawing app. The Tired Redneck, how long did it take you to recover from your gunshot wounds, and how long until you were able to do push-ups and lift again?
So the gunshot wound to the back and the leg and the ass, I redeployed to combat. So I got back, I redeployed 2.5 months later. So I went from needing 11 units of blood. So they couldn't even get me to Bagram for like 5 days because they couldn't stabilize me because of blood loss. So I ended up getting back to Bagram, getting back, and our whole staff, my trainer, my sports psych, physical therapist, and my dietitian met me in the hospital room. We came with a game plan. I did my last surgery, and then I was in there working out at our facility with like drainage tubes and shit sticking out of me. Ended up recovering and redeploying to combat and finished out that trip. And when I got shot in the hand, though, I got, the next trip I took a PKM round. It came through over this finger, went through this middle knuckle and blew out the side, blew up most of the bones. That one took forever. So the arm I probably shouldn't have redeployed because I couldn't really do a whole lot of stuff with it for a little bit. But with the hand, like I couldn't even do a chin up or work with a barbell for probably 1.5 years. So even now, like this damn thing, like I can like just probably 2 or 3 days a week I can't write with it. Yeah, it's the back, obviously. Like I had to go back and get my shoulder completely rebuilt. Some like 30% of the muscles back there still don't work properly. But where that white spot is right there, you can put your hand in. That was just a gap. I had so much blood loss, like my legs were black and blue from the blood loss. But that pocket right there is where the pressure from the blood had ripped apart of the muscles. So it just created a pocket right there of fucked up tissue that they had to go in there and repair and rebuild all that. And they put me on a wound vac for like 2 weeks. I don't think they sewed it up for like 2 weeks. That might have been longer. 3 weeks it was open on a wound vac, and they finally closed it once they finally did their last repairs.
Lord have mercy, boy. That I mean, even, I mean, I mean, everything. I mean, just black
Yeah.
and blue. That
And
is,
I just bled out, and they'd give me Hexton on the battlefield, which increases your blood pressure. So when I got on the surgical table, they couldn't figure out why I kept crashing, because they're like, well, shit, his blood pressure is good, but he doesn't have any oxygen like in his blood. So they wouldn't put me under. They just gave me ketamine, and they didn't give me quite enough ketamine. So I was paralyzed. I was kind of out of it, but I still remember, and I felt the whole damn surgery. And they were like talking to us. She was like, we don't know why he's feeling pain. He shouldn't be feeling pain, but we don't have time. We got to repair this artery. And then the artery popped back open a couple hours later, so they had to go back in there. Luckily, they put me under for that one. So they go back in there and fix it again, but it was just a massive amount of blood loss.
Boy, you are the between the bionic man. Well, you don't have any added parts, but I mean, geez, you have been through the ringer. My God.
I mean, I got some added parts, like, oh, this is like cadaver bone. My hips are fake. My back is fused. All this is fake. Yeah, there's a couple added parts in there.
And one of the question was, and I was curious because you did mention the 160th in one of your interviews, and you might have mentioned them earlier, but besides working with them, and I imagine that was pretty amazing, but didn't you also, was this a Russian bird that you were in right here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an Mi-17. Actually, that photo with me, my thumbs up, that was taken about 6 minutes before I got shot in that hand. That was an Mi-17. We're coming in, playing the HLZ, and you can see I got my GPS right there on my wrist. So as we're coming down, like, yep, this is the right HLZ. Talking to the Apaches, they're like, yep, HLZ is clean. Well, what I didn't know is the Apaches, I thought it was weird that they were on my freak, because the JTAC's sitting right next to me. He's on the other side. They should have been on his TADS, which is the air freak. Yeah, as we started to land, like, a lot of daylight started coming through holes in the bird. I'm like, yes, it doesn't seem like a clean HLZ, and it definitely wasn't. They were on the wrong HLZ, and they were on the wrong freak. So we landed in the middle of a shitstorm. But we were going into what we knew. We were landing in the middle of the day, in the middle of an active firefight, because our Afghan company that we were with and their armored unit and some local cops had been pinned down all day long. So we were going in to take control of the situation. So we knew it was going to be really fucked up when we landed. We just didn't know it was going to be that fucked up. And then we landed, and we had to make a call. It was like, okay, we can either assault 300 meters into fortified machine gun positions, or we can move like 500 meters backwards. It's like, well, the best bad decision we can make is to assault into these machine gun positions. That's what we did. And I got shot in the process.
Wow. I mean, wow. I literally am speechless behind that one.
And those Afghans weren't cream of the crop. They weren't on the objective with the other Afghans, because they were viewed as not very good. So when they asked us to do the mission, like, hey, we not only want you to land in the middle of the day in Mi-17s, but we want you to take these 30 Afghans that the Afghans themselves left behind because they're fucking idiots. Like, they're like, what do you think? We're like, man, this sounds like the dumbest thing you've ever asked me to do. My team leader was in the bathroom at the time taking a shower, so he came out like, hey man, this is what we're being asked to do. What do you think? I'm like, this is fucking dumb, but we're Green Berets, and this is what we get paid to do, so I think we should do it. So that's what we went and did, because if we didn't do it and our partner force was pinned down for another day, it would have been like complete mission failure for the campaign we were doing. So we're like, hey, this is the best bad decision we can make. If we don't do this, it's going to be catastrophic. So yeah, even though I got shot, we were still successful. We ended up clearing out that enemy, and then did like another 4 or 5 day campaign in that area and cleared out the rest of them. So it was a good decision. Yeah, I got shot in the process, but again, best bad decision we can make. It was the right decision, and it was successful. It's just, the next day we lost another Green Beret. A couple of the guys got shot. So it wasn't without, consequence, but.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, what a hell of a decision right there y'all are faced with. Well, I mean, there at the end, being shot at and all that, it's like you said, the best of a bad decision. We're always asked about, especially here with the modern guys, when y'all are on bases or set up, Were y'all doing any long range shooting? I know you've got, let me borrow one photo to where you were actually on a long rifle, and folks were curious, did you do much sniping or at distance shooting?
Yeah, all the time. Always trying distance shooting. You always keep a number of snipers on every SF team. And that one was in Helmand province from the wall. But in Iraq, did it a lot. Even before, well, shit, I would never went through SODIC level 1. I went through a SODIC level 2, which is kind of like your JV team sniper. But a lot of sniper work in Talifar. Like I would go up to the rooftop at this place called the Castle, with a shitload of rounds, but I always come back empty-handed as far as bullets wise. But yeah, you always, like, long range is a thing. You always keep at least one actual SODIC level 1 qualified sniper on a team, and you try to keep like one or two other SODIC level 2s, and you keep up on your long range shooting. And then even with your M4s, right, we always carry 3 different barrels in the later stages of the war. You have your long barrel, your beating barrel, and your short barrel, so you could gauge it out. Like most of our missions, I'd carry a long barrel on that, or I'd carry we had the scars. I'd carry a scar heavy.
Wow.
So you could reach out there and do some damage.
Huh. Heavy duty. I did not know you guys carried or even had two sets of barrels for the M4. Wow.
We had 3 sets of barrels here. The real shorty, your medium, your long barrel, and then for the scars, you had a short and a long barrel for both your scar lights and your scar heavies.
Now, I aesthetically, in video games, this is going to sound terrible, and I'll get mocked, ridiculed, and all of that for saying this to you, but I like the way it looks, and from videos I've seen of it shooting, I've seen people say it was a piece of garbage. What are your opinions on the scar?
I liked it. I always change the charging handle around to the opposite side, so when you get scar thumb, I thought it was a very well made weapon. It was very accurate. I never had an issue with it. People say it's shitty. I never had a malfunction with it. I never, I think the charging handle could have been designed differently, but other than that, I thought it was a great weapon system.
Awesome. I always like hearing that. I've seen Grand Thumb and the YouTube guys and all of them shoot the bejesus out of them, and they never had any issues in them. And every guy I've spoken to, like yourself, except for the people on social media, loved them that actually used them.
Like the M4, like that, even the Beretta, man. Even when we're running Glocks, like I'd always run with the Beretta. My thing on the team was like, hey, if you can outshoot me, you can talk smack. One guy finally did. M4 too, man. There was one trip, it was an 06. I just tested one. We had an extra one of the thing. I was like, how much can you actually put through this without a malfunction? I mean, I put I got a log somewhere. There's thousands of rounds to this thing without cleaning it. It was, when I finally cleaned it, it was really jacked up. But the only time when I got shot in the hand is when I had my first double feed in combat ever. I was trying to fix that. I was like, ended up bleeding in the chamber. I got pissed and just using my Beretta for the rest of that mission. But I mean, all these weapon systems we have are pretty damn good, man. I can't think of one weapon system we had in inventory like, I think we're just a complete piece of shit. And the Beretta, you had problems like if you didn't change the locking blocks or you used it too much, and some of the things are just old as hell. But even now, like my go-to weapons in the house are a Beretta 40 cal and a Beretta Mono 982, and I have other weapons right at 45s and stuff when they're in places. But my go-to, like my quick retrieval weapon is a Beretta Model 96.
Wow, that's Bryson made me laugh. This M9 standing all over Glocks a bridge too far. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I've got my Glock, and I've got my grandpa's 38 and a few others, but
it's what you ever trained with, man. Like I was down there doing dry fires with my son yesterday with the Beretta, right? But it doesn't matter. Like, get comfortable with what you got, run what you got, be good at what you got. Like, it's probably not the weapon, it's probably you. Like, be good at your basics and your fundamentals. Just like ride a damn horse, man. Like around here in the horse community, because we got like 3 horses. We got 2 Mustangs, right? Like, it's like, okay, like, yeah, it's not this $500,000 horse you need to get. Like, it's you. Like, you need to learn how to ride the damn horse. Same thing with a weapon. Like, it's not the gun. It's probably you, right? Take the time to learn what you're doing, and that'll transfer to everything else. And you can even take the biggest piece of shit, like you can take a Makarov and be good with that if you want to.
Yeah, we sure as hell on social media see all these guys that clearly can't shoot or are new, and with all these Gucci'd up weapons and all of that. It's just like, God, come on, guys.
I mean, look at that gun. I don't even have covers on the damn adjustments because we were so poor back then. Like, we didn't have the money for them to be. I couldn't order them. Yeah, man, it's just a standard run-of-the-mill M4. Like, that's like the old school ACOG right there.
Is this in Iraq right here?
That's in Talifar. In fact, that's the first group team guys behind us. That was during the siege of Talifar. That was during a little break. I got some pretty badass helmet footage of like coming out of there. We're like hitting. We got the Bradleys just rocking on each side of us, and the Abrams, and we got Hellfires coming in, AC-130. It was madness.
Those Bradleys, I love seeing those things. Especially, I didn't see much Afghan footage. I've been looking back now since Ukraine and seeing all them. And man, those Bradleys are hell on wheels, or treads, or whatever. Are they treads? The Bradleys?
Mm-hmm, yeah, they're treads. Yeah, we had a SOP there to where we started taking massive fire from a building. They'd come in, they'd hit it with armor piercing rounds first, and then they come back and hit it with freaking whatchamacallit. The fuck the other rounds were.
HE?
Yeah, high explosive. So they didn't hit with high explosive. And if that didn't work, then we'd bring in the Abrams and we hit it with these OR MPAD rounds, which would just create this massive overpressure and drop the walls.
Damn. Oh. Well, not as y'all can tell, not a weapon guy. What kind of grenades are these?
Those are actually your standard run-of-the-mill single flashbangs. They're not very impressive. That was the trip I learned. You also have what's called offensive grenades, which are these black-looking grenades, and they're not frag. But somebody had told me that they were just like flashbangs, so I followed one into a room, and it's not the case. The damn thing knocked me out. So I woke up like on my back. That thing will kill you. It's basically it was like the ghetto. We had these overpressure grenades. I forgot what the hell they're called. This is before that, but those things were freaking gnarly. So really, you take one or two of those. Like, those aren't that effective. So you want to throw one or two and then follow it. You want to be right in the room with that thing because it's not that scary.
Damn, that sounds like Lynn Black testing C4 and knocking himself out.
Yeah, we did that quite a few times too. Learn that you never want to use even a quarter stick of C4 on an internal breach while you're even one room away. We did a 10-pound ladder charge one time. We knocked through this one wall up on this roof, and that knocked a couple people. Silly, and they were like one floor removed from it. Stuff like that. Yeah, you found it the hard way. Why you shouldn't be a moron.
Oh man. We've got 3 more and then a few questions here, and we will be done. I was curious who these fine gentlemen are with you.
So on the left, that is James Gaston. He's retired. He ended up going over he was a Delta Force operator for a while. He's a badass. That guy's, I don't know. He would never drink water. Like, seriously, like, he would never drink water, but he could still outperform you in every single way, shape, or form. Like, we called him Corky because he just had retard strength, and he was just a fucking machine of a man. That was the Kurdish officer right there next to me, and then that guy next to me, that was the team sergeant at the time, a guy named Van Hines, just a badass. So this was like at the end of the siege of Talifar. This was after we'd hit our LOA, and we got a little bit of a rush. You can see how sweaty we are. That was a long ass week and a half or so.
Yeah, you've got the look of a tired guy on your face.
Man, I'd never been that hot in my entire life. There was the days where we just stopped and we'd like fan each other for like 5 minutes. Just like, maybe gonna kill us. The heat's gonna kill us.
What did you say? His last name was George or
Gaston.
Gaston.
Yeah, he owns a multi-million-dollar drone company now, so he's pretty awesome in the after military realm as well.
Wow, he I'd love to know if he had a name, a father named Chester, because he looks just like a SOG vet named Chester Gaston.
I don't think so. His dad was lived in some podunk. I don't think he was ever in the military.
I love that term, podunk. That's what everybody uses to describe my small town. This was I was curious about this. What were y'all? It looks like somebody's got an A4 over there. Is that the 240 and then a 50? Is that on a Humvee?
No, so those are in the GMVs. Those are the ground mobility vehicles. So those trucks, you had a 50 cal on top, and you always had a 240 or a saw up top, and then a couple AT4s. You had one on the back, one on the side, and you always have your M4 up there. And generally, I carried a double barrel shotgun with 2 flintlocks on it because those ain't failing. And then when you're driving on the road, those generally scare people off. And then on the passenger side, there's a 240 mount. And then generally have the doors up the front. That way the driver too could have his MP5 or whatever. In the back would also have a crew served weapon or 2. I think on that one, we had a crew served weapon on each side in the back, because you usually have for that vehicle, which is mine, we had the JTAC in the back under the guy. So they'd both have access to crew served weapons if they needed it. And yeah, that's kind of how we rolled. So you usually generally run with 250 cal trucks and a Mark 19 truck. Like when I was a team sergeant, I was always I had the Mark 19 truck, which I wasn't on the gun anymore, but that was the support vehicle. So your Mark 19 truck would also have your mortar, so you could take the mortar out, and the Carl Gustav, so you could operate in a support fire.
That's a lot of firepower coming off that vehicle. Damn.
Well, there's GMVs, man. Those things are awesome. There's just a really souped up Humvee, and then Hendricks Motorsports down here in Charlotte redid all the for almost chump change, man. They gave us like really upgraded suspensions, because when they added all this armor and everything on there, when you pull the ammo on there, because you wouldn't have anybody in the rear seat, you'd pull everything out, and that's where we built a thing to where on the bottom where the feet would go, one side would be water, one side would be MREs, and you have all your ammo. So you had probably like I don't know, 6 times basic load of ammo back there, and all your medical stuff. So these things are just super heavy. So you had a souped up engine, but they didn't soup up the suspension on it. So it kind of it sucked. So Hendricks really did us a solid. I think they did some work on the superchargers too, to where we weren't quite blown. They're super reliable vehicles, man. I wasn't a big fan of the new GMVs in Syria. We really just stopped using them because they were going down so much. But those, man, the classic old Humvee GMVs, man, are just awesome, because you could fix them in the field, man. Like something break on it, just fix it. Pretty simple, pretty simple diesel.
Man, that is crazy. We had 2 kit photos, and then I had a photo of why something is on fire in the background, and then we will answer questions, and I will let you out of here, sir. Great kit photo. I'm gonna take a guess. Is this Talifar still?
Yep, you can see the old school Surefire on there, old school laser. Actually, that kit that I got on, like we got all the Gucci kit later. People got all the Gucci kit. Man, I would still wear that. In fact, kit I got set up downstairs is that exact same setup, because for me it worked, man. Like to me, I'm like, all your Gucci kit, all your Gucci guns they're not gonna overcome any lack you have in fundamentals and basics. And that kit was fine for me. I could do everything in it. I could climb walls. I could shoot, move, communicate. Or maybe not. Maybe that's why I got shot so much, because I didn't have the Gucci kit. Fuck, I don't know. But it seemed to work for me. So I was never like a Gucci Geardo guy. Like, let me go with what works, man. Like I'd always carry a basic load of magazines. Like in this, I'd carry a basic load of magazines on me, and then I would have a resupply on the Bradleys on a designated vehicle. And then you always have at least 2 tourniquets like ready. And you have a blowout kit, medical blowout kit on your back. That's you can get to with both hands, which have everything you need to do any kind of basic trauma medicine yourself, or for somebody else to do it on you. Water source. And for us, especially if we're going to an area that didn't have, or that was a village where you need to get water, you just carry a water pump and less water, so you can just resupply your water on the go. And then some kind of VS-17 panel for signaling, which is in my my center pocket. some kind of GPS, watch, always some kind of trauma shears, and a knife with a serrated edge. We made that actually part of the SOP on the team, but I don't give a shit if it was a Gerber or your knife had a serrated edge. But a lot of times you had to cut through cables or some really serious stuff. And not having a serrated edge kind of bit me in the ass a couple of times. So we just kind of made the change. We're like, hey man, always carry a knife with a serrated edge in case you got to cut through some serious stuff. Or like stuff lodged in people, man. Like you'd be amazed, like the weird shit that happens. So yeah.
Wow, heavy duty serrated. I guess I might need to start thinking of carrying a serrated knife for whatever might pop up. I've got most of my pocket knives are serrated now that I think about it, actually. And what was lit on fire? Is that a gas line?
Yeah. So what you don't see in here, like this was right after a pretty massive firefight through here. So like one of the trucks that got hit, like leaked gas. That's all gasoline. Like that's kind of like grabbing a little shit ditch right there. I don't know why only that one section's on fire, but there was a lot of stuff on fire.
Yes.
Like everybody that decided they were going to stay didn't quite make it out of there. So we ended up leveling that whole city for the most part. When the 82nd showed up, it's pretty much just rubble everywhere. I got some good photos of that. I'm not sure if I've ever posted them, but yeah, I got some good photos of the destruction of that place. It's pretty intense. That place is wild. We set up, we were doing some counter sniper ops in the beginning. We had a SEAL team come up. These snipers were good, man. They were hitting people at name tape defilade vehicles going like 45 miles an hour. And we brought a gunfire detection system with us, which could detect gunfire. But when I set it up on the top of this castle, we'd take like 10,000 rounds that first night. So this thing would just, it was like, had a camera that would slew to where the gunshot was coming from and give you distance, direction, and elevation. But this thing was just like spinning around in circles because there's so many rounds coming in. So it was,
wow.
we could never find these damn snipers, man. You could see where they're coming from, but like they'd be like 2 or 3 rooms deep through some bullshit. Like they were very good at their trade craft. They were very good at what they were doing. I'm sure we killed them in the siege at the end, but we never got them before that. Not that I know of anyway.
Wow, man. And of course, this just a badass photo. I believe that is when you took it in the hand right there, I believe.
Yeah, you can see the blood on the grass next to me.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I got tagged. It was my last 3 to 5 second rush to that berm is when I got shot in the hand. So.
Oh, wow. Carrying a heavy ass load, it looked like that day.
Yeah, that was a little heavier load. That was and that really bit me in the ass. Usually I carried all my mat products and we laminate them and I would put them like kind of in the middle. This day, for some reason, you tie them down to you. I had them in my right cargo pocket. I had offset my my compass a little bit off to the right. So when I got shot in the hand, I couldn't physically like get this stuff. So I was like bleeding all over my JTAX products, using all his stuff because I don't know, for some reason I decided to do something a little bit different, and it bit me in the ass.
That is one hell of a photo right there. Some great shots.
So that's when I redeployed. Go back. So when I redeployed, I was told I couldn't go back out on combat missions, and I'm going back on a combat mission. So this was one of my buddies. His team was relieving our team. So that was like the last. That was the RIP mission there, the relief in place mission. And I forgot, like we lied on the con op with my name or something. But yeah, you can see the chem lights right there. Those are just standard chem lights for clearing. Usually carry X number of IR, X number of green, a couple blues, and then some red, at least for our SOPs. And you see that white tape on my arm right there. That was for writing stuff down, like right there, like, and they'd cover it in layers. So we're writing down like stuff coming over the radio. Use that.
Yeah, you can tell gear is definitely upgraded by now with everything y'all have got.
Yep.
Epic. All right.
You can see him still wearing the same body armor though. Although there's more shit on there, the body armor is the same.
The exact. I still have that one right there that looked. And you said you still have that exact kit downstairs still with you?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Your
I mean,
son's
the
gonna
kit
love
that I got blown up
growing up.
in
Oh,
was full of blood, so I had to get rid of that. But I think
yeah,
that's the same kit that I got shot in, if I remember correctly. I still have it.
man, oh man. Questions. Let's see, guys. Well, active comment section. Ah, there we go. That's a perfect one. The retired redneck. Have you considered writing a book on your life and military experiences?
I actually do. I have a book deal that I signed. I just need to get off my ass and write it. But I don't want to like write a book about me. I think combat stories are played out, so it's just kind of like I think Braxton's a good example. You know, he wrote a book that it's about. I wouldn't say it's about the recovery process, but it's about overcoming. Right? It's more about like, yeah, here's this fucked up thing that happened that was fucking horrible, and shattered him. But then how do you come back from that? Like, what are the lessons learned there? So I don't want it to like be about me. I kind of want to like, okay, what's all this stuff? Like maybe it's about my failure. Shit, I don't know. Here's all the stuff that I fucked up we can learn from. So I'm trying to figure out what it needs to be about, not be some weird ass, I don't know, played out Green Beret telling war stories, trying to look cool. Like what can make a difference in other people for other people, and I don't know, be entertaining. I just haven't really figured that out yet. How do I do that without coming like across like some pompous fucking dumbass? Yeah, I need to figure that out.
I don't think you'll have much trouble. Again, guys, if you don't follow him on Twitter/X, you need to, and you'll see why. Along with hearing him today on why a book from Mr. Chuck would be so fantastic. Miss Pistolicious was curious. Asked Chuck what the distances were for his long range shooting in Afghan.
Man, you get anywhere up to, you know, you probably aren't hitting a whole lot out at 2 kilometers, but I mean, in a good firefight, I'd say the average in Afghanistan was probably out to 800 meters to a K or more. And like, talking about sniping at that point, you're like using the Mark 19, using 40 millimeter, you're using your 50 caliber machine guns, which are the M2 is a damn sniper rifle. You put thermals on that, you could do single shot on that thing, and you're hitting steel out to as far as you want to hit with that thing. Man, it is an amazing weapon system. I would say it's sacred as the Barrett in many cases, which we use the shitload out of.
That's awesome.
But yeah, but you know, places like Tagab, like there's no sniping at that point. You're just in like a 10-meter knife fight. Same thing with most of Iraq, but I think most of our engagements, at least when I was behind a sniper weapon system, a proper sniper weapon system, would be 800 meters or less.
Wow. Good shooting. That's definitely some good shooting. I
missed plenty. Like before I knew what the fuck I was doing with sniper, the very first sniper shot I took, I didn't put the back pin on the Barrett, so that damn thing came apart. And my team started telling me, like, "How the fuck did you miss that shot? It was like 120 meters." I was like, I don't know, I'm a dumbass. And even with the M24 and an old M3 Alpha, man, like I'd say before I really understood what I was doing at, you know, being in elevated positions, you know, you miss it. You miss a ton. And you're talking about missing by a millimeter. You're just like, what the fuck? And half the time when you shoot somebody, you know, they drop and disappear, so you don't really know if you killed them or not. So sniping is actually really aggravating, especially when you're a dumbass and you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's one that Hollywood's made to be a real sexy thing, and you don't realize you're laying there a lot, pissing in bottles, not being able to move, and just a litany of stuff that they don't show in the movies that you don't think, you know. My God, I just did it again. There was a great question, and if you feel like answering it, you don't have to. But one of the viewers was curious about what are your thoughts on Ukraine and future warfare.
Man, if I study Ukraine all the time, I think it's a definite place to learn a lot about future warfare. Like this whole thing, like infantry is out here, like you're a fucking idiot. Like Who do you think's dying on the battlefield? Like, no, there's still people taking ground. Drones are definitely a thing. We dealt with a lot of drones in Syria, and those are nowhere near the level of the stuff they're dealing with there. Even your one-way drones from Iran, like your bigger drones, like those things are fucking terrifying, right? I would say that the principles of combat from old are more important than ever. You got to be able to operate in two functions. You got to be able to operate with all the technology that you have available, but you also have to operate without it when it's all jammed and it's gone to shit. So like your basic land nav, your basic shoot and communicate, your basics of your basic battlefield infantry tactics, assault support security, like all that stuff is very much still viable. But then you just got to be smart at how do you do it on a battlefield where you have not just drones, but the ability for satellites to see everything you're doing in a manner to where, like, they don't have to actually see you. They can just do an overlay of like 3 or 4 days worth of shots and see like where the dirt's been disturbed and other stuff. So really looking at your signature, not just with communications and thermals, but also like disturbing the earth and like how do you plan for that and execute. So I think that the principles of war don't change with how you need to plan it. You just got to adapt to, what the reality is and stuff like that. It's like a World War I style trench warfare fight with modern technology, a war of attrition, and it's fucking brutal. But if you really look at like everything, you go back to when the Russians, first invaded with their VDV, and some of the ingenious attacks of the Ukrainians. With what they had, pretty fucking, you're like, damn. And I mean, there was some luck involved too, but I mean, Russia was pretty damn close to securing their objectives in the beginning. If it wasn't for, some units on the ground being very ingenious what they were doing and some luck, like, they wouldn't have been fought off like they were. But there's a lot of really good lessons learned from that war, from the beginning into now, of how people were able to operate and the mistakes made on both sides and the successes on both sides, and be able to look at that like objectively, with it, taking your emotion out of it, and like, oh shit, like what can we learn here, to be able to operate better in the future, I think is important. So that's what I think about the war in Ukraine. I think that if you're like, for me, like, I have a degree in strategic studies. I was obviously in the military for 27 years. I don't ever plan on doing anything in that line of work, but I like to study it. And I think that it's important to not take that battlefield with a grain of salt. If you're gonna be a war fighter, you're interested in it, like, look at it deep, look at it with an objective lens too. Like, I don't know, I think people get way too emotional online about fucking what side they're on. No, man, look at it objectively without emotion. There's some great lessons learned there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's when it first started off, seeing you're thinking it's going to be an armor push all the way to Kiev, and some fighting and aircraft and all that, and hell, if it hadn't broken out to, like you said, WW1 and trench warfare, and who'd have thought we'd be seeing special forces doing trench warfare clearing drills with drones as backup. I mean, just crazy stuff. But I've held you way longer than I wanted to, but I'm so glad you sat and bared with me through 2 hours and 15 minutes. Guys, if y'all are watching and have any questions that didn't get answered, or have any that after the fact, type them in and I will get them to Mr. Chuck, or you can find his Twitter page down in the show notes after the show and go give him a follow on Twitter, X, and his YouTube channel. A lot of great stuff he puts out, and potentially might get a book here soon. So, Mr. Chuck, is there anything you'd like to say before we shut down for the evening?
Nah, man, appreciate it. Never start huffing your own oxygen to where you just think you're a badass in life, because it's fucking stupid. And I promise you, nobody thinks you're that awesome. Yeah, just keep it real, man. Don't get too emotional online, man. So if you look at my Twitter feed, man, I just fuck with people all day long. That I never get emotional online. I just mess with people, and they're like getting these loops of just trolling themselves, and it's amazing. It's super entertaining.
This cycle is
sometimes just go outside and get some air, man. Like, if you're online emotional, either way, if you're like super happy or super angry, upset, like, man, go do something, man, because that shit's crazy. It's not healthy for you.
You're losing. You're losing.
I dry fire, man. Go shoot a pistol. Go do something, man. Shit.
Yeah, I wake up every morning skimming the news, and I check and see what crazy psychopath is tried picking a fight with you, and start my morning off with a laugh.
Yeah, it's always interesting. It's like, man, this guy's really mad. Okay, let's have some fun with this. People they're like, is it worth it? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, but why do this? Like, I'm having fun with it. I'm entertained by it. Like, you want to come? I got a fucking beard hair in my mouth. I'm like, you want to come get all mad on my Twitter feed? I'll have some fun with you. I feel like if I don't quote tweet you, then I'm being selfish, not allowing everybody else to have fun with it. Right?
I was fixing to say you're spreading the wealth for us all.
Right. And sometimes I'm wrong on there. I'm okay to be wrong. Like, I'll admit when I'm being a dumbass or wrong. But if some people just come at, like, they're just so self-righteous, and there's like, everybody but me is a dumbass. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be entertaining, right?
Oh Lord, yeah. Well, guys, keep an eye out. If something pops up, we may have to, if you'd be open to come back and join us and share again with us one day. But we are gonna shut her down for the day. Hope everyone has a good evening, and those of y'all that are rewatching, hope y'all are having a great day as well. Mr. Chuck, thank you, sir, and hope you have a great evening.
All right, man.